Okay, this video is going to talk about Google local campaigns and why they basically fall short on the type of return that you and other people that try them out for the first time are looking for. You may be already using Google local campaigns and you don't really know what you're missing out on. For the most part, what their strengths are is, of course, they're damn easy to run. You can set up a Google local campaign with basically little thought and nothing but a credit card. In 15 minutes, be off to the races. And there's not much else to do. You let the campaign run, it brings in customers, hypothetically, and basically you're there to run your business. Where a lot of people, of course, go wrong is they don't understand a lot of times these campaigns lose money. i.e., after all your product or service expenses, delivering those products and services, and after the ad spend, you're not making enough money or you're working for damn little money. And the reason for that is because they don't have their conversion tracking set up. So they don't even know what their campaigns are actually making. Of course, conversion tracking, as I mentioned on this channel many times, is not very accurate, at least from the standpoint that it doesn't capture every single conversion. So you've got to accept maybe a small percentage of your leads / customers you have coming in that you should be or trying to track won't be counted, but it's a hell of a lot better than nothing and just flying by the seat of your pants with this Google local campaign and hoping it works. For the most part, they don't work, which is especially why you want to make sure you have conversion tracking and need to know what your numbers need to be profitable before you start up the campaign, or if you're running it now, to actually run that analysis on your campaign, because you may be working for nothing. Literally making no money and servicing all these customers and basically giving them a free service and giving them your free time. So anyway, with all that said, I'm going to go why these Google local campaigns aren't that great in terms of getting return, or at least if you are getting a return, how you can get a much better return if you just run regular search campaigns for your business on the Google Ads platform. Okay, so I have a list here of the 4 reasons why you don't want to typically run a Google local campaign, or if you are, try to switch to a Google search campaign instead. Okay, so the first thing on the list that I wanted to cover and let you guys know about is the radius targeting is not there with Google local campaigns. So according to Google, you set up this Google local campaign, which of course, how that's done, if you don't know already or were curious about it, is when you go to set up a campaign in Google Ads, it asks what your objective is, and if it says to generate local business or local customers, forgot what it actually literally says there, but as the first step, if you click local, now you have a local campaign. Of that, now it takes you through the specialized setup process for the local campaign. And with that, they ask you way fewer questions, and they're trying to get as much of it automated as they can for you, which I understand why Google made this. This is for people who just want to start running some ads. Their business is already very successful. They don't really care too much about the nuances of things, and it makes it easy. If you're in a competitive market, though, it's generally not enough to make a profit after expenses, if that's what you need or are going for, which 90% of the people doing this have to get that, or they don't have that liberty to not care what the return is, or just advertising for branding purposes or whatnot, not looking for a direct response from their ads. So during the setup process of this local campaign, it won't actually ask you where you want to run the ads. It'll look at your Google My Business profile, and with that, it'll determine about how far around your location your ad should technically show up. In other words, if you have an ice cream shop, if somebody types in ice cream shop on Google, through their algorithm and their testing and all that, tries to figure out, should your ad show up for somebody that's 10 miles away from your ice cream shop or not? Or should it just be for the people that are searching within 5-mile radius of your ice cream shop? And through looking at other advertisers who have run campaigns in the past, and through the testing that they could run once your local campaign's already up and going, and then all of that, they actually try to figure out what is the ideal maximum radius around your location that your ad should run. And so, going back to what I said before, if you don't have conversion tracking set up on your campaign, which most people aren't going to have conversion tracking that set up a Google local campaign, because if they wanted it to be easy, they normally didn't want to take the extra step to do conversion tracking, because that's usually the most difficult part. for at least the average person who doesn't do this for a living like I do. And so the testing that Google is going to do to decide if your ad should show up for somebody within 10 miles, 15 miles, 20 miles, whatever, is going to be poor, because of course they could look at in terms of engagement rate with your ad to see whether or not people from 10 miles out should see it, or 15 or whatever. But the real determination of whether or not it should be seen by people that are further out or less further out is, did people call or fill out a contact form on your site, or did they order something on your site? Without the conversion tracking, the testing that Google is going to do to determine how far out your ad should be seen isn't going to be the most precise. Of course, again, like they could look at somebody else's campaign data that does have conversion tracking, but still it's not as good as having your own tracking set up. And so what you're going to end up with at the best case scenario is going through this long several month process where Google's just trying a bunch of stuff out, in determining how far out your ad should be seen from your location when somebody searches for that ice cream shop. And at worst, or in the worst case scenario, they think your ad should be seen by 10 miles, people that are 10 miles out for your ice cream shop. In reality, most of the people who look at your ad or click on your ad to find out more information that are 10 miles out, less than 5%, of course, are actually coming into your ice cream shop. And the reality is, for something like that, if you're not within like 3 miles of your ice cream shop, your ad spend's mostly wasted. The same thing goes for any like fast food restaurants, dentists, stuff like that. This is a side note if this is you. And so you want that basic control to determine how far out you should be seen, particularly as Google, of course, they want to sell you ads. And please, Google, don't attack me here, but they want to sell you ads. There's a conflict of interest here in a way. You know, Google's 100%, I'm not trying to kiss Google's ass here, but they're trying to get people that search on Google to find what they want. So more than your money, they want people to want to use the Google.com and the search engine, and also want to click on ads in the future, because the ads gave them something relevant to what they came to Google in the first place for. And so, you know, with that said, they do want to still sell you some ads as a second priority, close second priority for them. But you want to be able to be in the driver's seat and to determine how much instead of just giving Google the reins and say, you determine how far out I should be seen. You want to go ahead and split test this, because this is the main thing that's going to determine your success rate with a campaign. If you're a dentist trying to advertise to people 10 miles out of your clinic, you're going to lose your ass. You need to be able to find that out. So if you don't know, you got to be able to test and find that out at 10 miles, 5 miles, 3 miles with your conversion tracking, and find out how far out you should be seen, so that long term you're not pissing away 3/4 of your ad budget because you never ran this test and you just didn't know. So that's the first thing to bring up as far as these local campaigns are concerned. While they're easier to set up, can lose you a lot of money, not just right away, but overall long term, years down the for the years and years that you run this ad and never really checked into it. 2, the keywords are many times going to get you the wrong customers or people looking for information only from your firm or company. So with that said, there's no keyword targeting with these local campaigns. So basically, if it was only so easy for Google to set up all their campaigns to where you never had to enter keywords for advertising on Google.com or through Google search, they would have done that a long time ago. For local businesses, it's namely easier because a pest control company, Google could pretty much figure out like what are the main ways people search for that, and what works and what doesn't work based upon looking at all the other pest control companies who advertise on Google, both in your market and in other markets, and kind of know what your ad should show up for once you've specified to them through your Google My Business profile that you're a pest control company. So if you're like a company that's like many other companies, you are a private investigator, which there's many, many private investigators across the country. Your keyword targeting and the keywords or searches of what your ad shows up for probably will be pretty tight. And for the most part it is, because I've looked into many of these local campaigns before, running campaign audits for clients and doing the initial analysis to see if we could take those clients on or not at our firm. And so if you're in a common business type, then you might be okay. But even in that situation, what we'll find looking through the so-called search query data, where Google shows you what people typed in before they clicked on your ads, there's people looking for, should I hire a private investigator? Going back to that private investigator example, and you don't want that person. Even though that person could be in market for, or maybe they are going to hire somebody to do private investigation job for them in the near future, you don't want them in that type of business, and for most local businesses for the most part, when they're not in the place where they're actually looking to hire somebody today. Because basically what's going to happen is, even if they click on your ad, they're going to say, oh, that's nice. Or more likely, they're like, well, this doesn't provide me any information, so I'm just going to leave. So you purely wasted your money in that scenario. But even if that person saw your ad legitimately, should I hire a private investigator, saw your ad, we offer private investigation services, and they clicked on it and went to your page, they're not going to remember that when the time comes to hire a private investigator. It's not like 1994 where people would put flyers on your door for lawn mowing service, and information was so scarce that you held on to that. Now, when people need something, they go, what do? They go to Google and they search for it, which is why we want search ads in the first place. They don't keep stuff. They know the instant they need a plumber, they're going to go to Google, they're going to search it. You're going to find the first one that looks credible, and you're hiring that person. Of course, if it's a bigger job, like a roofing job, you're going to go and do more research on that company, but you get my general gist here. You're not going to get anywhere, for the most part, advertising to people before they need it, what you sell, because they're going to go ahead and make another search and have forgot completely about you at that particular time when they go to make that other search, and that time comes where they know they're for sure that they're going to hire somebody and they want to hire somebody that day. They're just going to make another search. So you wasted your money in that particular scenario where you got them too early. And then, of course, if they're looking for information, they clicked on your ad. You wasted their time and wasted your money advertising to them in that scenario. So whereas these local Google local campaigns don't have a ton of these local, informational-based queries and have your ad show up for a lot of these informational-based searches, it does have that. But some of it is too much for me. I want to have a regular campaign where I get none of it. And that's actually not bad or wrong to kind of expect that your ad only shows up for somebody who's looking to buy today with a regular Google search campaign. You just have to set up a Google search campaign. You can get it. So you don't want, even if it's 10 or 20% of your budget's eaten up by these informational queries in which your ad shows up for people searching for information only. You're paying 10 to 20% more. That might be an extra $500 a month for the next, 3 years. Now you've wasted 15 grand or whatever. Could have just set up a search campaign in the first place and avoided all that. And of course, if you aren't in a common business, you're going to get raped probably in terms of where your ads show up for, because Google's not going to understand your business, and therefore you're going to show up for a lot of weird shit. And your business may only offer a certain type of service. What if you're an electrician and you only do commercial work mostly, or want commercial work? Well, you're going to get mostly residential work because most of the searches in that space is for residential, and your budget's only such a size where you're only going to show up for part of the day. And so with that, you may not actually show up for any of the type of customers you want. So unless you want all the customers from that niche or business type that you're in, or market from you're in, don't do these local campaigns, because there's going to be no way to sub-segment that traffic to get the type of customers that you want specifically. And going further with that, if you need a customer, let's say you're an electrical services company, you need a certain affluent type of customer to have a customer who pays you on time, i.e. doesn't hire you. You go send them a bill and they told you to go F yourself when you ask for the money. Statistically, when you go after somebody who makes at least $80K a year, the likelihood is less than 20% when that for that to happen versus anybody under 80K, the likelihood is 3 times the rate, which these are actually numbers that we pulled from a client before to kind of, because we were interested in this. And if you can stand it, and you're already starving for clicks. In other words, you're not really spending and getting all of the searches on Google already. The smart thing to do would be to advertise to the more affluent neighborhoods in your local territory and not just everybody who makes a search in your territory in general, because you're going to have a higher proportion of better quality customers that generate a higher margin. And you can do that through the income level targeting on Google. As a side note, if you have regular search campaigns, you can say, I only want people who search for electrical services if they're in the top 10% by income demographic inside my city, and get it, literally speaking. So you can see all these different little things that you can do with the search campaign you can't do with the local campaign. That's going to get you a lot more long-term results. And for that matter, I don't care how much money you have. Everybody wants to work for more money in the same amount of time. Life's only so short. Why would you want to set up an inefficient campaign to save some money on the front end and then work for half the margins long term because your campaign isn't efficient? So anyway, that's the main thing with the second option, or second thing I wanted to put on my list here. The third thing, the landing page you're probably using isn't ideal for this type of traffic. So this is an assumption here, but if you're doing a Google local campaign, you probably weren't sophisticated enough to have a landing page, a dedicated page, in other words, to send the Google local ad traffic to, in order to get it to convert at a sufficient enough rate to A, make money, and B, make money at a decent margin after expenses of product or service delivery and the ad cost. So with that said, of course, with Google local campaigns, you can send people to a landing page, just like you can with the search campaign. But I'm just saying from the standpoint that if you veered, towards the local campaign setup and stuck with it, you probably didn't do a landing page. So I'm just saying, I'm just bringing up the fact that you should definitely be doing a landing page for your little old local business, because it's extremely hard anymore, given the competition and everybody in your space knowing about Google Ads. Now this isn't 2010 anymore. And most people are using landing pages, dedicated pages for people to send people to from your ad campaign on Google search. That's the bare minimum to make money anymore. So you need a landing page. Even if it's an ice cream shop, you need a landing page. I don't care. And there's competition. Your competition does landing pages. That's one thing. But the other thing is consumer standards have risen considerably since 10 years ago. People expect to get the information they want right away, or they're leaving. Used to be you could send them to a homepage because everybody else was doing it, and that's where the standards were. They put up with it. Now if you do that, good luck making money. But going further beyond that, for you guys doing a local Google Ads local campaign, a lot of these local campaigns are based upon or surrounding brick and mortar businesses, not like local services like a tree service where you go to people's house and then you're going to offer the service to them there. So if you're doing product sales, you're selling products locally, I see people violating this general rule all the time. You got to realize when somebody searches for that ice cream shop that a lot of people, ice cream shop is not the best example. You could actually say ice cream shop is a good example. Even in the ice cream shop example, we'll just bring that one up anyway. If I'm going to go look for an ice cream shop, I might be looking for the driving directions to the ice cream shops and the ice cream shops that are around me. But if I'm looking for the ice cream shops that are around me, I also want to know how do I get there, right? I might also, though, when I'm looking for an ice cream shop, be looking to see which one has Chunky Monkey ice cream. And anymore, because again, people's standards have risen so much, people expect to be able to go to your ice cream website, and then before I go there, I can see if you have Chunky Monkey. Consumer may want to actually see the Chunky Monkey on your website without having to call, because they don't like calling, and it takes time, and they want it now. They want the information right now. So with that, if they go to click to your website, given that they could just look for your location on Google Maps, you got to realize the people going to your website, it might be 50-50. 50% want to know what kind of ice creams you have. 50% might actually want to know where you're at geographically and that kind of thing. Also, what your business looks like. Does it look like a piece of crap on the outside? Does it look like it's in a bad neighborhood? Whatever. It's another thing they want to know. So there's multiple things that people want to know, and you got to be able to cater to all of them at the same time. And this is a really tricky thing to do if you have no experience doing this, but realistically, for something like this, you'll have a landing page like this. What we'll do is we'll have a picture of the outside of the building above the fold, as they call it in the marketing industry. So basically, before you scroll anywhere on the page, you see a picture of the outside of the building. So first of all, the people that want to know what it looks like, they can see it right away. You have your logo top left, and then you have a map, a little square with a map inside of it, so you can see where it's located inside your city geographically as it corresponds to the other landmarks and things around you. And then a link underneath it that says driving directions, so you can click and get the driving directions imported to your Google Maps app on your phone, so you can right away drive there and know it's there right away when you hit the page. So as they're scrolling through the page, they become satisfied with the information they've seen. They know right where that's at, so they can get the driving directions right away when they need it. On the right hand of the side of the above the fold section on the page, we'll have a little section down here in the lower left that show what kind of products we have. So if we're selling ice cream, it's a little difficult to do, but we would have our most popular ice cream there. And with that, you can have a little link underneath that says, see all of our flavors. So the person who wants to know what kind of flavors we have, they can easily find that information. And we have our telephone number up top right in case they're coming because they want to call us. Of course, the phone number is on our Google local profile, but we can't expect them to know that or go there for it. So you can see how we're covering all our bases here. Maybe they want to call. Maybe they want to know where we're at. Maybe they want driving directions. Maybe they want to see what kind of products we have. Maybe they want to see what the outside of the building looks like. And then below that section, this is a general formula that I use for a local business that isn't a service in which they may, and we're selling a product in which they want a variety of different things, and we got to be able to direct the person to the right information out of all those different competing interests, if you will. So below the top section there where we have that image of the outside of the building, we'll have several more of the products that we have, and then a button underneath it that says, see all our other products. So similar to what we had up here, which we had just a prelude of maybe 1, 2, or 3 items, or basically 2 or 3 items, and so they can see that there's how to go look at all the other items. We have a similar section below. So whereas the top section is more so visually dedicated towards seeing this is our business, this is where it's at. This section below it's more so these are the products we have, and we have an online directory or online shop where you can see all the products that we have. The prices, a lot of times people expect to see if you're selling products. Let's say you're selling camera supplies. They want to see what your camera costs before they come into the store because that's going to waste their time to come in, and they also don't want to call because that's going to take forever. So you have a link to the list of products that you have underneath the 5 or 6 that are listed horizontally here to where they can go into the store and see what they can browse online before they come in, or just see the whole list of ice cream that you have by flavor. As I mentioned, some people will want to do. Directly below that section, we'll have a landing page. Doesn't have to have an overwhelming piece of set of information. What it does need to have is you got to know the different things that people come to the people that come to your page. You have to figure out what they kind of want, what are the types of people, and what do each of them want, and then provide links to places where they can get more information so that you aren't alienating any one set of people. On the landing page, so therefore we basically don't have a very long landing page. We just have the 2 sections I told you. We have a bottom section where we again show up the map, and then a contact form here. So in case somebody doesn't want to call and they want to fill out the contact form, because everybody actually has a different preferred method of communication. Some people like to call. Some people like to fill out a contact form. You can't just assume. If you force people to do one or the other, I guarantee you, and this doesn't matter if this is a local business or some other national business or whatever you're running, you'll lose leads. Whereas leads equal money, a higher amount of leads per dollar spent on ads is just going to equal more profit from your ads. That's just how it is. That proves you have more engagement and you're giving people more so what they wanted. And so you offer both methods of communication. You could also have a chat. Some people like to chat right away. But generally speaking, a phone number and a contact form will get you pretty far. But that's your basic formula for a landing page. Now you could be selling home medical supplies. That same formula would apply. You could be selling ice cream. The same formula would apply. You could be selling Chinese food. Same formula would apply. I'm almost always going to try to, for a local business that sells product, have an online store that sells everything that we sell and link to that. If we're talking about a restaurant, I'm going to give people a way to order online, a link directly to that as well. So just keep this in mind. This is a formula that just crushes it for local businesses as you're talking about local businesses that are for products, selling products. For services, you don't need all this super sophisticated, we have to cater to this person and this type of person and this type of person and this type of person. Services, it's real easy. They want to know, can you do it? Can I trust you? And do you cover my area? So your whole page is just dedicated about explaining the service. Up top, you basically just say, you have a picture, like if it's a tree service that you're showing a picture of some guy trimming a tree. So they know visually right away, bang, within 2 seconds, I know what this service is. The headline says tree service in, and then you put the city that the person's in. If you're covering a wide area, you break it down so that the name of the sub area of the city you're in, of the metroplex you're in, is in that headline, so they know you do it and you cover their area within like 2 seconds of hitting the page. And as far as can I trust you, directly below that image, you put your Google reviews, your Yelp reviews, your Facebook reviews, and the stars and your overall rating score next to each one, and a link to where if you click on it, you can see in a pop-up, an iframe of the reviews on that google.com, on that yelp.com, or if you wanted to, but I recommend it less, linking directly to the reviews on Yelp, your profile on Yelp, so that people can verify those reviews so they can see. That's the easiest, best, most effective way to communicate you can be trusted that we've found, basically, and we've tested. Of course, you could say you're in a magazine, but it's still not as good as those. That's the thing people are used to. As it comes to conversion rate optimization and landing page and making money and getting more people to buy from your landing page that of the people that you send to that landing page, you're trying to make them not think. How can you make them think less? And whatever people are most familiar with, that's the stuff you want to use. People are used to seeing reviews to evaluate a local company. Therefore, you don't use anything else besides that then. That also, by the way, as a side note, goes to the type of language you use. Yes, you could use sophisticated language on a page, but what converts better is writing at about a 5th grade level, even if you have a sophisticated service, because it's easier for people to register what you're saying when they don't have to think about what a particular bigger word means. And some people don't even know what bigger words means exactly, or it's harder to interpret exactly what you mean. So anyway, I won't get into conversion rate optimization on this particular video beyond what I said. I did it somewhat, but this is some key things to know. As far as the local service page, down below, by the way, just to finish that up, I mentioned what you do on the top of the page. So below the page, you just talk about the type of services you have, and then of course at the bottom, you can have a map and a form. And that's pretty much what you do if you're offering a service. But you got to have a good landing page working for you anymore in 2022 and beyond to usually make good money with a Google search campaign. If you have that landing page down, and most people either don't use a landing page, 20-30% of people still don't use a landing page even though they should. Of the people that do, they really half-ass it. They'll have their web design company do it. They won't have a landing page expert do it. You actually have a landing page expert do it, and you have the ad written by a copywriting expert. You're going to make money for sure because nobody else is doing this stuff to that degree, If your ad gets a higher click-through rate than anybody else's, your landing page gets a higher conversion rate than anybody else's, Google's going to want to prefer to promote your stuff over the other people that are advertising that have similar businesses, and you're going to get all the best customers, and you're going to get them for the cheapest rates, because Google's also going to lower your rate per click, per visitor to your site. So if you can be in the top 20% in terms of those two things, click-through rate, conversion rate on your landing page, you will basically always make money and make a good margin and make Google search ads work long-term for you. Basically with very little optimization long-term once you've gotten that done. Of course, other people can try to come up and outdo you, but it's rare in a local business context. Most local businesses are pretty lazy. I've seen local campaigns all the time. I understand when you put the level of effort that I told you about landing pages alone into it, it'll always work because nobody else is really thinking about stuff at that level. You don't have to know about it, how to do it. You just have to know how to hire somebody who does landing pages for a living, and they don't do landing pages and this and this and this and this. No, they run ads for online advertising, they make landing pages for online advertising, and that's all they do. That's the person you want. But anyway, the landing page, you want a dedicated landing page, and you want to be able to make sure you're catering to all the different people that would actually click to your website, like I had mentioned. So I wanted to get that out of the way as per when you're talking about local search campaigns, what you might be missing. The fourth thing here, on my list, of final thing to mention, you're getting placements you probably don't want on your ads to run. YouTube, Google Display Network, Gmail, and so forth. What this means is, okay, these local campaigns, most people when they're thinking Google Ads and they're going to set up a Google Ads campaign, they think Google search ads. When really Google Ads is lots of different ad types. Google search ads on google.com, display ads, which are running on millions of different websites that Google partners with, on advertising on youtube.com, and not just video ads, but also display ads on YouTube, ads on Gmail, and so forth. So as you set up a Google local campaign, you're actually forced to run your ads on all these other alternate placements, not just on Google search. And a lot of people, I don't think, know that. In fact, I know most of the people don't know that. So not that if you run a Google local campaign, you're going to have most of your budget go to ads that are running on YouTube, but some of it is. And for a local ice cream shop, running your ad on YouTube, unless you've got a crazy or funny, ice cream shop that's like, has a theme of, the movie Ice Age or something like that, you don't want to run display ads, because when you get ice cream, at least for you starting out and wanting to have something that works, you want to get on Google search for people already looking for ice cream shops. Eventually, you can get display ads to work like for any business, but usually for that, you need a separate campaign and ad to get that working. So Google local campaigns wouldn't even be good for you anyway. What you say to somebody on Google search isn't going to be what you say to them on YouTube to get them to come in. On Google search, they're already ready to buy. They want to know, are you close? Do you look like you have a good product? Can I trust you? Whereas if you see on YouTube, if you're going to get them in your ice cream shop, you're going to have to say, we're running a special 99-cent, cones today only, whatever, or, we're doing this wild, crazy, in-store, having guys dress up in costumes, and something that's going to stand out to get the person's attention. So it's a totally different selling. You have to take a whole different sales approach if you're going to go run ads outside of Google search as you do on Google search, and therefore you don't want to cram all your money into one type of ad that's going to run now on Gmail, on YouTube, and so forth. So you're going to not only probably waste your money on these other ad networks that you don't want, of the money that you were using to advertise outside these other sites other than google.com, you could actually gotten a lot more value if you set up a separate campaign that was just supposed to be for display and said something that would get a person's attention on the display network, whereas just saying you have an ice cream shop for somebody that's on a different website, that's not going to get their attention. You're going to waste your money. So anyway, I wanted to put that one out. That's probably the biggest one I see why the local campaigns don't work, and out of all of them almost. Of course, if you're in a weird market that's not common, you're getting your ads to show up for keywords that are not related to your business, that's going to be the bigger problem. But if you're like that, normal ice cream shop where Google kind of knows how to run your ads already, getting your ads running on these other placements other than google.com is probably the biggest issue. So anyway, I'll wrap it up with that. Google local campaigns, not to say it's impossible to get those working. Consider, if it's working already for you, go and do a search campaign and do the things that I mentioned on this video. You'll make potentially 3 to 10 times as much money and a profit margin doing some of the other extra little trimmings and adding that to your overall search campaign strategy and just weeding out stuff that you don't want. Hope you enjoyed the video. I have a ton of other videos like this on this channel about other money-making strategies and stuff to avoid. This is the best information on how to make money with PPC that I can find on YouTube. And if you want to learn how to be a true master at PPC, you really should consider subscribing. And if you like the video content itself, you think it helped you out a lot, I would appreciate it if you would give it a like as well. Help get the video out there for other people like you that similarly need the help. With that said, also I have a blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog with step-by-step instructions on how to build PPC campaigns the way that I'm building them for our clients here at our firm. That's what we're doing here at our firm. And so if you want more individualized information on how to set up a search campaign like we were talking about today to replace your Google local campaign, then you can find it there, and it was all written by myself. So guaranteedppc.com/blog. If you have any questions about Google local campaigns or switching to search campaigns or anything else, leave me a comment down below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days' time. And so with that said, I do want to actually give you guys one last piece of information here. I'm starting a brand new program where we're selling turnkey campaigns for a variety of different markets. So if you wanted to start a business or potentially switch markets because the business you're in, you're tired of the rat race with it, we have multi-million-dollar winning ad campaigns that we're running for clients who moved on to other things, or they're in one market, but we could help somebody else at another similar geographic market do the same thing that they're doing and make millions of dollars from their ad campaigns that we've spent years to optimize and set up for them, which basically will work the same way in another market. And so, or if you want to sell products, we got campaigns like that are on this, have been replaced by other more profitable campaigns that we can give you and can have basically a turnkey business where you can partner up with somebody else. All the stuff, most of it, you can find somebody else either doing the work and just outsource everything to them, or just start up a company real easy. But for the most part, you could just have somebody else do all the work, do all the fulfillment. You just have the campaign and you've got a business already. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, you can reach out to our firm. We can tell you about the kind of campaigns we have. We offer campaigns, turnkey campaigns ready to go with proven results we can show, plus the landing pages that go with them that are also proven to go with it. So anyway, if you're interested, reach out. Beyond that, I'll wrap it up with that. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on my next video where we have another great idea and potential money-making strategy for you to run ads on Google search, Facebook, or another platform. See you there.